Welcome back. I'm going to try to solve some puzzles today on chess.com. Hopefully one of us will learn something. I'll have as much fun as I can while trying to also learn chess. Let's get to it. Alright, last time I tried to solve puzzles on chess.com, I had a bunch of failures. I think I failed half or more than half of the puzzles, and I fell below 2,000. Let's see if we can't improve that. My opponent's king is... Wait, I'm playing with the white pieces, right? Okay. My opponent's king is out here in the middle, and my queen is under attack. However, they've left their rook hanging. Is this a case where I should take the rook, or is this a case where I should attack their king? Like this, for example. Would that be mate? I think that's just a mate in one, isn't it? Oh, and I was supposed to find that in 7 seconds, but I did not. But yeah, that was a simple mate in one. There is no theme listed. Okay, again, I know you cannot see the drop-down menu, but I am going to select mate in one. That way, when you try to solve puzzles by theme, you will get better results. Okay, I'm playing with the black pieces. Is that checkmate? Has it given me another mate in one? No, that's not checkmate, but it is very forcing. It forces the king to the back rank, and then that will be mate after they block with their queen, and then I will take there. I believe that's the solution to this puzzle. Okay. Oh, and I was supposed to find that in 20 seconds, but I guess I didn't make it. That's interesting. Maybe because I failed so many puzzles in the previous video that it is starting me off with a couple of easy ones. I don't know why I said empty. Interesting. Brain works in mysterious ways. This time it says mate in 3. That is a correct theme. I will thumbs up that. Okay, next. Puzzle. That exposed an attack on my rook. Now my rook is defended a couple of different ways. I can also check my opponent here. This rook is not defended. I can check them here, but they could take... Oh, they could also take with the bishop. Or should I take here while this rook is protected by my queen? My queen is guarding the f-file rook. If I take their d8 rook with check, I believe they'll be forced to take back. And then will that be mate? It would be mate after they block with their queen. And then I will take like this. Maybe. Let's try it. Okay. That one also doesn't have a theme listed, but it had a slightly longer target time and a higher rating. It's rated 1933. Can you see that? Yes, you can. I'm going to drag this just a little bit bigger. You can still see those. Whenever I set the size of my little camera box on the side of the screen, I don't know exactly where those things are going to be on the screen yet, so I don't know if it's the right size. I got that, and I'm going to suggest theme of mate in 1, 2, 3, mate in 3 plus. There we go. Next puzzle. 1990. I'm on my way back to 2000. I think 2003 was my high point. Okay, they're wanting a bishop trade here. I could just let them come in here and trade this way. What do I have besides that? There is this attack, but then they could take back. That would open up the rook's attack on this knight. Or should I just take here with my pawn first? That would be a pawn fork on those two pieces. And even if they took here and I took back, that would still be sitting there, forking those two pieces protected by the bishop. I hesitated there because one other idea is to push this pawn forward, which blocks the queen from defending that bishop. And that pawn would be protected by my rook. However, in that case, they could still take my bishop with their bishop, and it would be an even trade, and that pawn would be sitting up there doing nothing. So I think probably my first idea was better, but I'm not sure. My guess is after I take that, they'll take here. And I'll take back, and then they're going to lose one of those pieces for a pawn. Okay. Okay, that was correct. Suggest theme. Wow, no theme listed. What would be the theme of this? Pawn fork? Is that one of the themes? Well, there's a fork double attack, but is there a pawn fork? No, there's not a pawn fork. I'm going to call that a fork double attack, because that's what that was, right? We attacked two pieces at one time. Okay, next puzzle. I do like discovered checks. Ever since I discovered those, pun intended, I've really enjoyed being able to use the idea of a double attack. I mean, a discovered attack. Now I wonder, it might matter which one I do. It might, and I don't know. they blocked with the bishop, I would just take it. I think the king would move out of check. So where's my knight supposed to go? Which one of those squares would be the best? Because it's double check. Yeah, okay, so the bishop couldn't block because it's double check. It's check from my bishop and from my knight, wherever my knight would be at that point. It would be hitting the king from whichever one of those squares it was on. So the king has to move. You can't block a double check, and you can't capture the piece of a double check. So if I went here, for example, check, check, so the king has to move. Then where's the knight going to go after that? In here to get this knight? Then they're going to take it with their pawn and exposing their rook attack on my queen. To remember the names of the pieces. Another idea is to do it here. If I check from there, when the king moves over, I could then take this pawn. However, no, that's not a good idea either, because both of these pieces are hitting that pawn. They would probably take with their rook, so that's not a good idea. There's a better place. Where is the better place to put the knight? What about back here? That's not double check, because then the knight isn't checking. Only the bishop is checking at that point. Well, still they wouldn't block. Oh, they could block with this pawn. Oh, but then I could take it. And if they block with the bishop, I could take it. Still check. So I'm not worried about those two blocks. But what if I go back here? And the reason that I'm suggesting that is because if the king moves, which it would at some point, after blocking or before blocking, I don't know. And then from there, I would have a follow-up check on g2, g3. The king could not come back because the bishop is still pointing at g1. So if they took with the h-pawn, then I would have checkmate here. This pawn would still be in the way, so that square would not be hit by the bishop. They would have to block with the queen, and I would take it. I think that might be it back here. It took me a while to figure this one out, but I'm going to try that, and if that's wrong, if there was some way to block that I missed, we'll find out really soon. Immediately, as a matter of fact. Well, was it one of the other two? No, it was not that one. It was that one. How was that different from the other way that I was doing in my attempt? The knight ended up in the same place. I have to go to the analysis board to figure this out. Okay, f4 was the blunder that allowed mate in 4. Knight to f5 was not among the options. It only works here, apparently. Doesn't work here. Well, I get why it wouldn't work knight to f3, because from there, the knight can't get to g3. Knights don't move that way, right? Oh, okay, now knight to f3 takes us back to equality. But what's wrong with this one? What can they do here? They can sacrifice the rook. Oh my. They can sacrifice the rook because that's not double check. And so yes, I could take it and they could take back, but then I've got all kinds of problems over here. So I have to run away with this knight, I guess. And then they have time to put their king back. And they have a huge pawn storm in the center because they have all 8 of their pawns left. Okay, well that's why that didn't work. So back to the beginning, it had to be double check because you cannot block a double check. And I should have seen that because that's what yeah, all right. I had the right idea. I just missed the obvious that if it's not double check, they can block it. I thought this block and this block were the only two available. I did not see that they could block with their rook. Okay, we learned something. Next puzzle. Well, that one doesn't have a theme either. Mate in 3+. Okay, next puzzle. I know that they're about to destroy me here with all these rooks coming down. However, I noticed that my knight cuts off f2 and d2. And if I had some piece also cutting off here, that would be mate, right? But I don't have a piece like a bishop cutting off e2 right now. Now, if I move my bishop here, that gives my opponent time to do something else, like check. Yes, I could take, but then it's not guarding that square anymore. If I check first with the rook, the king can come forward. And then that would not be mate, because the rook could capture. And yes, I could capture back with the pawn, but then they have this check, and I've lost a bishop for a rook. That would be going up in exchange, so maybe that would be good. But maybe not, I don't know. Also, if I checked first, which I might need to, I'm keeping in mind that I might need to check first. If I check first and the king comes forward, and then I tried to check over here, say, then the king could escape out this way. So should I check first, go here first, or do something else first? Fortunately, I have learned how to edit out dead air, so when I pause for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, later I can just slice that right out. So I don't feel quite the need to talk constantly like I used to. I think I should do this first, because not only does it prepare a mate, but it protects against these coming checks. But wait, what if I do that first and they check me here? I mean, I get out of check this way, right? I'm gonna try it. Oh my. Okay, well, was it the check first then? It was the check first. And then this? No, not that. See, I would have failed it anyway. Well, what then? Check over here first. Oh, it was over there, but it escaped just like I said it would. I can follow with this, but then the king can go here, and it's threatening my rook. Wait, is that mate? For some reason, I have a hard time seeing these mates where the knight guards the rook and all the rest of the squares are cut off. The bishop cuts that off. Pawn guards here and here. Knight guards the rook. Rook cuts that off, and the knight cuts that off. Okay, oh, that one had a bunch of themes. Knight outpost, mate in 3+, mating net. Rook's on the 7th. Nobody's rook's on the 7th. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to thumbs that down. I know my rook started out on the 7th, but... Vulnerable king, sure. Okay, next puzzle. What about queen captures h2 check? And then this. That one I saw pretty quickly. It has no theme listed. That was made in 1, 2, 3. Made in 3. Next puzzle. Well, that's a check because of my queen. But is that the best check? What about this? This is a smothered mate, isn't it? That's double check, so the king has to go. I can't take. And then I go there, and the rook has to take. And then I go here, and that's mate. I've seen enough of the... Oh, I got 8 points. Yay. I've seen enough of those now that it's kind of in my head. Theme smothered mate. That is exactly what it was. Okay, but it was also a mate in 1, 2, 3, so I'm going to add that in case you're doing mate in 3 puzzles. Next puzzle. When you see me looking over there, I'm checking the length of the recording, so I know how long I've been on, so I know to cut these off at around 30 minutes, and then usually I edit it to be shorter. That's interesting. Okay, I have a couple of options here. One is I could take the bishop, and then if they take my... I'm playing with the black pieces, right? Yeah. I could take their bishop. If they take my queen, I get that too, and then I've gone up a piece. However, my opponent would still be up on material because they would still have a rook and a bishop, and I would just have a rook. So maybe I should check. Wait, is that mate? That's just checkmate. Oh my, because my queen cuts off all those squares. Okay, well, it took me too long to see it. It was themed mate in 1, but I did see it. Next puzzle. Okay, they've captured my knight. They're pointing at my rook multiple ways. I have another rook, but it's not doing anything. I could check and they would take back. And then we would still be even on material, but they would have a rook on this open file. Let's see, what would happen if once they took back? Would I have anything else at that point? I would not have any checks. Their bishop would, oh, they could also take back with their bishop. But I assume they would take back with their rook to get the open file. But after that, there's nothing happening, right? No, there's no back rank mate because they already have... Both of us already have these, whatever those are called, lufts, where the king can escape. I was trying to think of some trick where I could do something like that, and if they took my queen, I would have mate, but no, that doesn't work anyway because the bishop. Or if they took here, then my queen would go there, but it doesn't work because they can escape. I don't think it's a queen sacrifice because they can just take it. That's still protected multiple ways. Let's see. That doesn't do anything, right? The queen could capture or the pawn, and they would still be fine. I honestly have no idea. The only thing I can think of is that, because if I don't, they're going to get this. I mean, mine is doubly defended as well. Does that do anything? That might prevent them from doing here because I would be threatening that rook, but and I would be threatening that pawn, and I would still be protecting this pawn back here. So I think in a game I might be tempted to play queen to b2 now that I've had a chance to look at it, because I really don't see anything else. But I mean, I said I might be tempted to play that, but probably what I would play in a game is just trade off these rooks. We are even on material, correct? We each have a bishop, a queen, and 2 rooks. I'm actually up a pawn. Well, now I just feel mentally incompetent. I'm gonna take the rook. I'm just gonna guess it wasn't this either. No. Was it this? No. Well, then I have no earthly idea whatsoever. But they're just gonna move the queen, right? Why? How was that the best move? Why didn't they just move the queen someplace safe like this? Because now I can just take that. But then they would take back. No. That was not it. It was something else. It was something else entirely. Surely it's not taking with the rook, because then they would take back and I would lose both those pieces. Wait, is it the pawn? Oh, okay, well now they're offering to trade queens. I'm going to go to the analysis board for that one, and I feel like I'm slowing down. I apologize for that. Hopefully I have edited out all. Oh, okay. Now see, this one, it wasn't even or the other side had an advantage. We already had an advantage before their mistake. We were already up minus 1.6, and that's because of the extra pawn. I'm pretty sure. Oh, well, and in this case, we have the extra knight as well. They're supposed to take it with the queen. That offers a queen trade, I guess. That evens up the material except for the pawn. And if we take, they would take back with their bishop, threatening our rook. But they took back with their bishop, and that's a blunder because of rook g5. Okay, now my question in this puzzle was, why didn't they move their queen someplace safe? That's their best move. Bishop to g4, according to Stockfish. Their second best move is to give away the queen for the rook. I understand that's not safe, and that's not safe. But that's relatively safe, right? No, because then I could do this. No, because then they would take. Yeah, so, but like that's safe, right? I know that's not safe because I would check and then win the queen with my queen. But what's wrong with this? It threatens a pawn. Oh, because now that pawn is pinned. My best move by far would be to take the bishop with my queen. And my third best move would be to threaten the queen here. But then it would just move again. That's why I suggested putting it there in the first place. My third best move would be to take this pawn, which is... Okay, so if I would do that, they can't take. They've just lost a bishop. Then their best move is to come back here. Oh yeah, because I'm threatening mate now. Okay, so backing up. That's why they weren't supposed to run away with their queen. They're supposed to block with the bishop. And then the only move that maintains my advantage is advancing the pawn. And their best move here is to take my bishop. But in the puzzle, they just moved their queen over, which isn't even in the top 3. You see that, right? Right way up there? Yeah, that's what they did in the puzzle. And then I took the bishop. But in an actual game, their best move is f3. No, it's changed its mind. Their best move is bishop captures. Quit changing your mind, Stockfish. Which is it? f3, rook to d6, or bishop captures e6. So if they'd done that, I would have taken the queen, right? Okay. Then they would have taken back? No, they wouldn't have taken back. Why not? Oh, now it's saying that's their best move. Okay, and then I would take the bishop, I assume. I assume they would try to threaten my queen, but like, no, it says their best move is to put the king in this little fortress. Okay, well, I'm not sure I got all of that. And I'm sorry if you feel like I've wasted your time, but I do have time for one more puzzle. The theme was pin. I don't think that's the theme of this puzzle, but I don't have the mental energy to correct it right now. I am playing with the white pieces, which I have several of. Oh, and I have a passed pawn down here. Should I take the rook? Should I take their rook first? That's check. And they can't get out of check, so they would be forced to take back. Then I would advance the passed pawn. Oh, no, I wouldn't, because then they would checkmate me. Right there. Yeah, they're one move away from checkmating me. Wait, check? They have to capture. It's forced, right? Check. No, I'm not seeing it. What about check there now? They would only have one legal move, and then I would take the rook, right? Because they can't go back here because of the pawn. Okay, so check with the bishop on f5. My rook cuts off this square, my pawn cuts off that square, this pawn cuts off that square, my rook also guards this. So that leaves them only one legal move to d7. Then I take their rook on f7 with check. They would have a more legal moves there. No, not there. That doesn't make sense because my queen is here checking them. My bishop would be cutting off all of these squares. My queen is hitting here. My pawn is cutting off that. So they would have to go to either d8 or c6 at that point. Either way, I could follow up checking. Like if they went to the back, I could follow up here or here. If they went up there, I could follow up here on c7. I think that's it. I'm gonna start there. Oh, that was it? It just stopped? Oh, it bugs me when they just stop. Well, because that means you can't add a theme because it's not a mate. Go to the analysis board. Their best move here was to take the pawn, but instead they moved their king out of check, the pawn check. Wait, why didn't they just get in front of it? Back up. So everything but that leads to a mating sequence. So just getting, because if they get in front of it, then I would take the rook, right? Well, it doesn't say that, but what if they did that? Yeah, then I would take the rook. They would go to d8 or c8 or something. Okay, but they didn't move there. Here is where they moved up instead of taking the pawn. Okay, then it's my turn. Wait, it said that was mate. Oh, wow. That's the reason it stopped, is because it was mate. And yeah, I definitely need to stop right now. Well, I found the right first move, but I didn't know it was mate. You saw that, right? I thought the king was going to escape and then I would have to take the rook, but my bishop cuts off that square. Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you for watching. If you had a pleasant time listening to my voice or learning anything from these puzzles, feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video if you did, and leave a comment if you had any questions or advice. And I sure appreciate it. We'll see you next time.